time for the Ravens.
Hurry, misses dash, scream, rotates the back line, uses the shield, but now has to dash away from the damage following after. Ult in from Big Forest Coast. It's Venadu caught out, but Venadu takes down Laspra with a couple ult shots over the wall. It gets used by Venadu, keeps himself alive for a little bit longer, but it's not for much longer as Nika takes him down. 2-for-1 trade so far for the J.
Very rarely is she ever losing most 2v2s. Incredible sustain, incredible MP5 and mana resources to help her and her ally. I'm not too worried of Mike and Coast dying, especially with how safe they are. But pre-5, a pluck a lot of the times, there's very good kill potential there. You have enough damage, enough one-shot potential with this Frenzy, with this on her, and I like that they took away this on her. This is Coast's bread and butter. Picking this on her, winning lane is something that he does better than most other players with this on her, so I'm glad to see Zapman with this. Yes, like I said, low kill potential, especially when level 5 is hit. But if a Sobek pluck happens early, I could see a kill happening.
Keep eyes on Duo. You see then at level 3, level 4, we see the action starting to kick off in that lane. Meanwhile, for Solo, it's going to be a bit of a slow start until Nika does get access to that corpse explosion. Haddock's able to easily clear that wave out. And we go away from the Chalk Solo that worked so well for Haddock's in the previous game, now opting over towards the Raijin. Did receive some nerfs this patch, though. A lot of cooldowns hit on this Raijin.
Yeah, Raijin is now a spam character still, but it's less spam, I think is the best way to say it. The passive got hit, the 1 got hit, the 2 got hit. Or sorry, the 3 got hit, not the 2. So almost every base ability and passive was hit, so now Raijin is going to be less effective at what he does. Is he still going to be effective? Yes, he still has incredible cooldowns, very safe, very good poke, clears very well. And then when you get to that late game portion of the game, the CC that his ultimate provides is insane. It's game changing if you don't have beats. He can just lock you down and kill you if you don't have those. So that's something always to keep an eye on. But now this is the first Opwash game we actually see today. He's been banned every game also along with this Raijin. So this is like almost a completely new solo lane. We saw a lot of Poseidon. Now we get to see this Raijin Opwash solo.
Well, let's see how it performs. Also this Bastet. Maybe one of the bigger question marks for me, because it seems a little bit out of left field for Lasper, I would say, to go for this style of pick. Frenzy used by the Ravens, but not going to get too much from it. Helps them clear out the wave, get some poke against Coast, but as mentioned, if there's an Aphrodite in lane, you got to do more than just kind of poke and prod to take down the enemy, because Mike can resustain and make sure that Coast has a nice and healthy HP bar. But going back to it, I think the jungle is going to be maybe a big question this map. Not just because the Bastet, maybe not the best pick at the moment, but Lasper going to it, probably the big question mark. But then the recently buffed Nemesis making her way onto the battleground as well.
Yeah, Nem is a very interesting character because we saw her a little bit. I think it was just Lasbra and Sino that played her. Now we get to see her where she is just 100%, she's just a stronger character. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She just does more damage. Her 1 comes up quicker. She is now just an outright stronger character. So now we get to see kind of how she performs. Unfortunately, on the other side, the Dragons have a bunch of just really good picks into her. As you see, Dart is ulting that mid wave. This Cuckoo into Nem is one of the easiest matchups ever. You very rarely get slowed because your 2 is almost always up. And if he does feel like he's going to get pressured a little bit, this is going to be a book breastplate game by him. And that's like even harder to now kill this Kukulkan because he's going to be slippery. You're not going to be able to CC him really that much. And then he's also just going to be even tankier.
And what are your kind of maybe general thoughts on the Bastet? It's really one of the only kind of CCs and initiations that the team has. Because, I mean, Nika's going to walk up, press 4. That's all good and well. But Lasper's really got the only ranged initiation for this team to throw out that ultimate and try and poke somebody out. So do you think that that's enough for this pick to warrant this out of the jungle? Or do you think there maybe could have been something else that Lasper could have gone towards?
Yeah, I'm not a big Bastet fan. I think she's a fine character. I think it's a good enough matchup into a lot of what the Ravens want to bring. Not a ton of safety if they do get ulted. There's not like a big support to peel them out. If Hurry gets plucked by the Bastet, that's pretty easy kill potential. So I don't hate it, but also I'm not a big Bastet fan. I think she's very limited in how she plays. As Miff said, she kind of just jumps in and then jumps out, pokes a little bit. And if you look at kind of what the Ravens are going to be doing if they're getting dashed on. There's a lot of like interrupt abilities. Sobek, there's the MLF, there's the Raijin. I mean, even if you're poking Nem just pops shield and then takes no damage. It sustains up what she did take. So I'm not sold on this Bastet. I think it's going to be a difficult game for Lasbra. But we've also seen Lasbra kind of carry games before on some funkier picks, so I'm excited to see what he does.
Nika being dove, used the ultimate. Haddox and Scream with both of theirs. Actually end up being on the worst end of that trade because Nika can re-sustain nice and easily on this op-walk. Does have some extra damage to Scream, and Lasbra on the rotation through. Does have access to jump. Haddox, no ultimate. Does get by the root ult. Off the mark from Lasbra. Gonna wide shoot that one right. Haddox is able to bail himself out. No need for the beads from either of the members of the Highland Ravens. And now, with Hurrywin and Ven rotating over, Lasbra doesn't want to step too far forward to try and steal this blue, but should be fine now the pluck is off the mark.
You throw out that first Bastet ult, just kind of testing the water, seeing how you're feeling. Unfortunately, the first one, very short range and also misses, so Laz gonna have to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out that ult for the next one. But already has the Jotuns, so we should expect a lot of Bastet ults just kind of getting thrown out, hoping they land. If they do land, they pull relics for free, because you don't want to get pulled back into the enemy's grasp. But the best thing about Bastet, I think, is just her playmaking potential and her chase down potential. If you're low and you're running away, very few characters can get away from a Bastet or run away like a Bastet can. Thinking gods like Janus, one of the few ones that can. So if you are getting poked out as a Ravens player, you're getting very low, you've got to be on high alert that Bastet is just kind of around the corner, just kind of running down.
We'll have to keep eyes on Lasbra throughout this game, see if he can land home on a couple of those ultimates. Really see where the pressure goes for these two junglers. So far, priority's been in the solo lane for both of them, as noted by the rotation from Scream and the counter rotation by Lasbra immediately after. Even Mike is sticking to this side. They're really trying to put some pressure on these solo mages, which was almost always kind of the answer. You throw a mage in solo lane, they're pretty squishy, especially without immediate tank item. PBM, ulted by Scream. It will be just fine. Turnaround Kiss will stop any further aggression from the Ravens jungle, but not to say that there isn't still some attempted pressure there. Highland Ravens have really been digging into the jungle side over on that right end of the map to try and find anything that they can.
And they find nothing so far, but I think when you're talking about these mage solos, they are incredibly strong when it goes late into the middle portion of the game. But early game, they're very exploitable. Only this Pythax, Lasbra actually jumping in, looks for the ult on the screen, barely misses his pluck. Hurry forces the beads. He actually looks for the ult, maybe a little chase down potential here.
Mike's got hold. Hurrywin doesn't want to chase into Tornado, and Serpent Knight wins. Meanwhile, Ghost has dash on Zapman, but Zapman's going to stand his ground at the buff. Use the pillar for the extra damage. Ghost in a bit of trouble. No mana from Zapman means he won't be able to push too much further forward, even holding on to ultimate. And Hurrywin standing guard. Means to do a lane to the Highland Ravens will be fine for the time being, but Zapman has been a lot more willing to stand his ground against Coast in these 1v1 trades.
Yeah, on this Honor, it's something you kind of have to be able to do. You have to be able to take these 1v1s. If you're not winning 1v1s, you should not be playing on her. So I like that Zap was able to step up and take that 1v1 fight. I'm actually looking at Dardes right now. He's level 11. Highest player on the map. And actually, Hurry gets caught out, kissed, and the Cuckoo ult barely off the mark. Hurry gets chased down. He's going to be taken down also. Zapman almost gets the peel there, but Cuckoo ult is used. So that should be all the aggression we see. And we get that first blood down onto Coast. And when you're playing into a matchup like Hachiman versus Onher, those levels, that gold, that matters a lot.
So 4 games and 4 first bloods for the Dragons. Every single game it's been them on first. But this time, that first blood used to just shore up some of the lead that the Highland Ravens have had. All of that bounty effectively, just to mitigate the small start that the Ravens had in their advantage. Mentioning Dardes, the level 11 versus the 10 now of Venenu. Didn't secure the kill with the ultimate, but did continue to at least keep some of that zone control out there. These tornadoes, maybe some of what's allowed him to be able to get this extra farm. A lot of other gods in the game, you gotta stand there, wait on the wave. Dardes on Cuckoo, he can just walk up, drop Tornado halfway up the lane, pretty much peace out at that point and go farm somewhere else.
And it also got its scaling buff that same patch too, so little extra damage potential, and then, as you said, can just kind of place it and then walk away. He's already level 12, can actually back for that second relic already. In dual lane, level 8 for the support, level 10 for the ADCs. Kosa's already back, he's got his tier 2 XE spike. Has not finished stacking the dev gloves, and then on the opposite side, Zapman has finished stacking the dev gloves, but not backed for a spike yet. So not really strong enough to want to fight over there, but he is level 11.
So far, 2 ultis by Lasbra, neither of them connecting. Last time was a fast dash to the side by Scream to avoid it. We'll have to see when we start seeing some of those ults connect, because that feels like that would be a huge turning point for the Dragons in a team fight. And a great way to start one up. Lasbra jumps over the wall, tries to get some damage to Hurrywin, but Hurry is very tanky on the Croc, does have that Gauntlet of Thebes. It seems like both supports now immediately going towards that recently buffed Relic Dagger.
Yeah, you're right, 100% a Relic Dagger here for our both. And Mike actually has the beads. So he's going for a Relic Dagger with the beads, maybe for something with the upgraded beads to get cooldowns out so you can actually peel a little quicker, get those abilities up quicker, peel a little bit more. But actually, no Relic Dagger from Mike.
Wow.
He resets, he gets that Winged Blade. So a lot of safety that Mike has right now. Winged Blade for safety, for movement speeds, and also has the beads, and then also on top of that, has the ult for CC and damage immunity.
How good Relic Dagger is, it's almost a question. Why Wingblade? Then you look at the other side. Literally everybody can slow. That's the primary bulk of the CC from the Ravens, so a good pickup by Mike. It's going to afford him a little bit of that extra slow immunity, and also grant it to that team as well, that extra little burst of speed. We'll see how Mike can make use of it during these fights. No real plays around the objective just yet. I thought earlier, when Dardas rotated over, we saw the Gold Fury, attempted by the Dragons, so it's just a pick to Hurrywin. I thought that was going to be the objective pull, because you look across the board for everybody. Best secure on the map by a landslide is Dardas on this Cuckoo, so maybe not one to go for the play just yet, but maybe surprising they're taking so long to try and go for one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a little surprising, especially with best secure by far. Landslide, best secure. He's also the highest level in the game, too. He's got so much prio in mid, he can just drop Tornado and then walk over to actually pull this. Maybe it's just something the Dragons are happy kind of going late game and just kind of farming up, because so far, they did get that first blood, but this game is just even. And with this game being even, 12 minutes hits, Beacon has spawned. Soul Laners, actually it looks like the Soul Laners looking to rotate, so maybe a little fight happening on the Beacon soon.
Do see it slowly capped up by the Ravens. I'm surprised Dardas and Mike just gave up the pressure there, even with Lasbra standing by. Might just be full commit to a fight elsewhere instead. Beacon still not capped just yet. Both teams resetting it. Hurrywin walks off the platform. Dragons step back up. Hurrywin stunned. Fast dash out. 3 versus 3. Now Lasbra on the way.
That's zone
Ultimates
control
available, and you have to keep watch on both of Lasbra and Dardas as a combo. So the Jade Dragons, after a little poking and prodding, will manage to cap the first Beacon.
This Cuckoo Tornado, and I don't even know what's this. Every Opwash ability is zone control, but the zone control that the Jade Dragons have with this comp is insane. Trying to walk through jungle or walking through a Gold Fairy Pit area if they know a fight is going to be happening, it's going to be very difficult for the Ravens, so they're going to have to choose their fights wisely. So far, a very slow game for both teams. Both seem to be very happy going for that late game portion. When you talk about late game, I think it is always good to highlight how 5v5s happen, but also how objectives will happen. And Dragons, as we highlighted, easy to tell what they want to do. Sustain, as soon as somebody walks up, try to kill them. If nobody walks up, Cuckoo up for secure. But you look on the other side, Ravens have a little bit harder of a time, not as much sustain. When it comes down to it, it really is just, you have to be able to punish the Dragons when they walk in. They have some punish potential, but before that even happens, fire Gold Fury pulled.
Coast and Dardas put out plenty of DPS on the objective, and Dardas is there for ultimate secure to make sure the Gold Fury does go to the Dragons. The Highland Ravens, a little bit late on the jump to try and get over that direction. It means that first objective of the game to the Dragons, and still with that first blood, the lead isn't massive, only about 500 in favor of the Jade Dragons at this point. For 14 minutes in, only 1 kill on the board. The one objective now maybe answered back by a Pyromancer, but Haddix has already used his lead. Plasma's going to dive right in. He's going to be pushed back by Hurrywin, and now it's the Dragons who pick the Pyromancer right back up. Mike does manage to use his beads to get away from the pluck of Hurrywin, but it's the Dragons now with the second objective.
And the Ravens pull that, and then because of how Haddix plays that, they're actually forced to just give up that pressure, and then the Dragons opt to pull it, and they get that objective. And so far, I mean, we've seen this a lot over in left lane. Zapman is up a level, and it still seems like so much pressure's on the Coast is putting onto him, even though, like, this isn't on her Hachiman matchup. This is on her, supposed to be a dominated matchup, but so far it seems like Coast wants to take the 1v1s, and Zapman is kind of playing back.
Did see Coast even walk into the tower just to try and delay the back of Zapman. Ends up finding Scream and Hurrywin, but a fast ult means that Coast is good. Only uses ultimate to escape that one. Still holds on to both of his relics for the next fight. As far as XP is concerned, it's pretty much even across the board. The one level that Dardes has over Venenu is traded by the one that Zap has over Coast. And builds actually matched for the two Hunters. I think it's surprising to say, considering how opt Zapman has been to go for the Demon Blade in that third slot. Surprising to see him not opt for Crypt this early.
Maybe he feels like Coast is just doing a lot of damage, and he's like, I want to try that build. No longer does he want to go for that Demon Blade and risk that crit chance. He just wants that extra pen from Dom. But as you said, same build. And across the board, Dragon's about a 1,500 gold lead. Nothing really happening with these towers. It's mostly just those objectives, as we said. Both Gold Fury and Pyro went to the Dragons. And we've seen kind of the power of this Cuckoo so far. Level 17 kind of seems to be the way they're opting for. Get this Cuckoo fed. He's not opting for that breastplate. He's going for that full damage. And even at this point, there is one-shot potential with this Mirrored Cuckoo.
Eats a stun from Mike, but Mike should be able to resustain the damage dealt to him by Ven. Pluck onto Mike. No follow-up from there. Just seeing what Hurrywin can grab, see if he can pull a relic, an ultimate, whatever it may be from the opposition. Speaking on at least the blades picked up, we talked about the wing blade that Mike went. Hurry did end up going for the relic dagger himself and fully upgrading it already. Eldritch dagger on board and online for Hurrywin.
Yeah, a little weird to see it upgraded, but I want to see him use that relic now to get vision, because that's kind of what you're playing for when you go for it. If you want this early Eldritch, it means you want to get wards in the jungle, Gold Fury, Pyro, stuff like that. So that's what I want to see Hurry opt to do. But it's a little weird with the relics he has also. It's not like he has like a Sunder, something low cooldown, a Bracer, so you can actually just use it and get it back up. If you see somebody use this Frenzy, it's going to be something that's down, and it's going to be obvious. And then you won't be able to get that D ward. But maybe he just wants a little bit of protection. Zapman looking for that 1v1 finally, but does not hit the impale. So Coast just opts to disengage. Level 17 for all three laners on the Raven side. Level 18 for Dardes. Trying to go for that early level 20. Maybe that's the spike the Dragons are waiting for.
Maybe so. Group around Beacon once more. All five of the Ravens, at least on the left side of the map, to match that of the Dragons, but the Dragons are the ones with pressure on the platform. They grab the Beacon once more, and Fury has just spawned back in. We saw how quickly it went down before, and the easy secure the Dragons have as long as Dardes is nearby. Primal started up, quarter HP, ultimate. Thought they pulled that one out for a moment, but close. Secured by the Jade Dragons, not from the ult itself, but just from their inherent damage after. So Jade Dragons continue to pull these small leads away from the Ravens. Again, we're 18 in. Only a single kill on the board, but now 3 objectives that the Jade Dragons have gotten.
It's not like the Dragons are really opting to do much either. It's like the Ravens get caught double backing, and then the Dragons just opt to do an objective, and they can just do it quickly. They have the damage, they have the secure as highlighted. So not too weird by the Dragons, but it's not been massive mistakes. Maybe just too many people backing at a time for the Ravens.
Hurry misses dash, Scream, rotates to the back line, uses the shield, but now has to dash away from the damage following after. Ult in from Big Forest Coast. It's Venenu coming out, but Venenu takes down Lasbra with a couple ult shots over the wall. It gets used by Venenu, keeps himself alive for a little bit longer, but it's not for much longer as Nika takes him down. 2-for-1 trade so far for the Jade Dragons, but Zapman and Haddix stepping forward means the Dragons can't stand around the Pyromancer.
And Zapman still with ult available, but Mike on this Aphrodite can heal up Coast actually a lot here. Zap is actually pulling and doing a lot of damage, down to half.
Coast half health, but healing from Mike means that he'll be fine. Zap and Haddix don't have that same luxury. Their sustaining just comes from their builds. As the Dragons step up to Pyromancer once more. It's Nika zoning away onto the PUCH. Doesn't have ultimate yet, but back up in just a few seconds. Pyromancer secured by the Jade Dragons, and even Zapman gets clipped by a big chunk of damage from Dardez. He's gonna force the Highland Ravens back. The Jade Dragons with a 2-for-1 trade plus Pyro.
And again, I mean, pretty decent sized fight. We get 2 kills for the Dragons, only 1 for the Ravens. But the big wins for the Dragons are just coming at these objectives, and they're just waiting for the Cuckoo ult to be up. As soon as Cuckoo ult is available, they pull the objective, they ult it, and we talked about this earlier in the game. Objectives, if pulled and Cuckoo's alive with ult, will be going in favor of the Dragons. That's the value of this pick. So far, the Dragons have been playing around that very well. Got themselves a nice little 3,000 gold lead. 20 minutes into the game, though, this is not a sustainable, winnable lead. You gotta push it more, and right now there's not really a ton of stuff to push for. Maybe a tower. Zap actually looking for the 1v1 here.
Misses the Impale combo, but still gonna box against Coast, but Coast is winning the trade. A nice little crit helps out the both of them. They're down to 300. Coast goes for the ultimate to escape. Zapman and Coast both alive with only a few hundred HP. I was like, okay, that's a good crit for Coast, and then Zap gets one immediately after, about a nice little 400 or 500 swing each way. Means no kills between these two hunters. But talking a little bit, at least between these two comps, you say the Dragons need to be able to push this lead a little bit more, get some more gold in their favor. Is this because that the Dragons' composition falls off as we go a little bit later in the game, or is this that the Ravens' comp scales better towards late game?
I actually think both comps are pretty good late game. I think the Dragons comp is actually slightly better. It's more so when you have a lead, you want to be able to push it, because late game, one fight changes everything. And Fire Giant pulled, it's already half
health on it. Hurrywin in the pit. Haddix on the way. Using the Taiko drums to push Nika and everybody else out. Ultimate from Dardez helps to get the Fire Giant. And the Ravens, again, not able to capitalize off of anything. Hurrywin, 30% on his health bar. Has to be careful walking back into lane with all 5 of the Dragons nearby. Blackbro's got ult. The first one he connects is going to pull him right back into the Wolves, and it's Coast who picks up the kill.
They actually have double bomb available here. They have Wave. No, never mind. Wave was taken down, but Wave is not too far behind. They have double bomb up for a Phoenix here. Scream is pushing down right.
Still holding on to both Runic Bombs. Now a 4 versus 5 defense. No ult for Dardez. Only ult available is PBM's. It's going to be a trade out for Scream using his. That keeps the Dragons zoned away. Still holding on to both Runic Bombs in pocket. The Jade Dragons might not even need one to take down the Phoenix. They will drop one, but it's taken out immediately by the Highland Ravens. Not able to push that one out. Coast is still standing by, but Hurrywin has finally respawned.
But it seems like the Ravens are a little bit too low. Hurry's really low in here. Big Onk actually available now. PUCH ult drop. Laz jumps away.
Haddix gets some damage with the ult. Coast is low. Mike's gonna try and re-sustain, but no ult from Mike. Scream heading over towards the speed buff. Can try and wrap his way back into the fight, but not gonna get there in time. Nika's full sustain. Coast with lifesteal and an Aphrodite next to him. He's back up to full health, and it's the Dragons once more to an objective. It'll be Gold Furious the call. Dardez has ultimate. Should be a guarantee for the Dragons once again. Won't even need the ultimate.
It seems like the Dragons maybe dropped that Phoenix by not using both available bombs. They only dropped the one. And Zapman, very aware of what they wanted to do, kills the bomb before it's able to go off. Middle Phoenix lived with maybe 100 health at that point. And you still have one bomb in Laz's control, so maybe a little bit of greed there by the Dragons. I think if you just drop both, one guarantees blows up, gets you that Phoenix. Maybe they just thought they had it and they just didn't want to use the second bomb. But Fire Giant still in hand, all 5 strong. They still want to get through these towers on the side lanes. Still 2 on both outer lanes. You have tier 1s and tier 2s. So a lot of farm available for the Dragons. Even though they're up 5k, they could push this to 10k by the time they push another Phoenix.
Heading over to dual lane. We'll let the minion wave deal with that tier 1 tower, as the Dragons can regroup and maybe head towards right. Still a tier 1 tower standing on that side of the map. And then 2 tier 2s immediately after. But with the Titans spawning themselves in, Maybe let the Titans do a bit of the dirty work over there.
Apologize.
Dardes is near, has ult, but is zoned out by Hurrywin, so will be the first objective for the Ravens in a Pyromancer, but we're already fighting into about a 5,500 gold deficit. Lasbra can try and walk up and take this Phoenix. Zapman's respawn, he'll use a cat. Throws the Runic Bomb down. Zapman actually
killed
stuns
it.
that one again! That's 2 Runic Bombs that Zapman's defused. Ultimate used from Lasbra in response, but half HP on him. Crash in by Haddock to try and chase down
can't
Laz.
catch him.
He's got decent cooldowns to try and keep up. Use the ride, do a scream, use the ultimate, slows down Laz. Laz doesn't have any relics to fight back in. He gets taunted out before he can use the blink.
He greeted the blink.
And the Highland Ravens get a pick on the jungler. Jade Dragons now without both of their Runic Bombs. That mid-Phoenix still stands. And they've now got to fight a 4v4 on the right side.
And if Laz just doesn't greet the blink, just uses it right away, he just gets out. Unfortunately, though, he greets it a little bit and dies, and the only thing the Dragons really get here are those towers. And Tier 2 is still up in left, Tier 2 is still up in right, and right now, both Titans will be dying. Fire Giant is also falling off the Dragons right about now. This game, not really pushed all that well by the Dragons. I would actually say that was a rather poor Fire Giant by them. I think mid was very easily in their control. I think left was something they could have pushed also. They just gave up Pyro for free. They also lost Lasbra. And now, yes, it's kind of like still an advantage for them. But if you get Fire Giant, you want to push your lead more than 500 gold.
Down, good sir.
We're still sitting only about 6,000 in favor of the Jade Dragons at this point. 5k XP, not meaning a whole lot. It's mostly just in that support role. In fact, pretty much all in that support. That shows the difference in that experience department. 26 minutes in, this gold lead, near negligible. Everybody pretty even as far as the leads in their own respective lanes concerned. It's not like, you know, Costa is 4,000 gold up over somebody. I say that. It's about 2,000 over Zapman. That helps him get a Deathbringer. Wow. Ahead of Zap for the time being. So full build now for the carry of the Dragons. Those 1v1s that were going pretty even between him and Zap. Not so much anymore with Deathbringer online.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest spike you can get for an ADC at almost any point, maybe other than like Kin's size. But Kin's is not really in the current builds with these mage solo lanes. So now with this Deathbringer available for Coast, Dardes also has that ult for Confirm. The Dragons have everything they need for this fight. They've got Burn on this, they've got Sustain, and they've got the Confirm. Now all it needs to happen is to push out the Ravens just a little bit to get enough space, or look for a trade somewhere where we can poke somebody else.
Ravens a little scattered as the Jade Dragons start to group up around Fire Giant. Jade Dragons have all the pieces of the puzzle. It's time for them to put it together around this Fire Giant, around this next team fight. Mike walks up, Coast gets massive damage. Along with Dardes against Hurrywin, that might just send the Sobek back to lane. Or I should say back to base. No way that Hurrywin can stick around here, especially with the poke damage that the Dragons have already put out.
With the sustain option the Dragons have, they're actually looking to just do Fire Giant. Fire Giant gets confirmed, Hurry's too far forward. Haddock sitting in the Opwash ult also.
Of course, Coast gets credit for 1 kill. And the Ravens scatter to the wind instantly. The Jade Dragons, they grab objective, and the Ravens have no fight back. I don't know why Hurrywin stuck around so long.
And it's just like these quick plays that the Dragons can do. This Deathbringer allows so much damage, and then this Cuckoo ult is doing so much. It's so hard to contest an objective with Cuckoo.
See the Jade Dragons push up again. Another 4v5 for them. Mid-Phoenix gave them trouble last time. Still giving a bit of trouble now, and without Runic Bombs, but you got all 5. Mid-Phoenix falls down, an immediate beeline over to the left side of the map. Tier 2 still standing with Fire Giant around their waist. Not pants Fire Giant, but still the extra burst is enough to take this one down, and they push up towards left Phoenix.
5 strong, no wave as you said. Fire Giant still in their pocket. They've got really good poke here. They've got really good sustain. They just need to play this a little bit slower, let mid-wave maybe push in a little bit. But you also have this poly on Dardes, and that ult is now available again. One shot down.
Hurrywin's back up. Some good decoys thrown out from Venenu off that sigil. Not gonna get an insane amount of poke just yet. Phoenix is back on the mind of the Jade Dragons to drop the Opwash ultimate, and Hurrywin's health bar along with it. Haddock's, he's falling on the side. He's getting clipped by random crit minions. In fact, Haddock has to go back because of it, standing inside the Opwash ult. almost the entire duration of it, sends them back. But the good news for the Ravens is that no one goes down and the left Phoenix stays alive.
And I think we're both starting to see how squishy Hurry actually is in these fights. He's not even plucking in. Like, usually you hear the story about Zobek, you pluck in, you die. He's walking up and dying. He needs to get tankier items online. He's level 16. Everybody else in the game is level 20. And I think that's kind of the big difference so far in this game. Hurry is just not able to frontline like you want him to be able to.
His biggest problem now is that everyone on the Dragons has beads. Mike ultimate down is good, but doesn't have an ideal target to try and pull back, because no one else on the Ravens is able to grab those relics. Lasbra dives in on top of Haddix, and that's going to send him back to base. So once again, it's a 5v4 for a few seconds. The Dragons walk up. They still haven't taken down that Phoenix just yet. Still standing with a sliver of health, but Hurry, when gets caught out, has to use the ultimate to escape. And Coach dives in with his ultimate, bailed out a little bit, but still goes down. The Ravens lose Phoenix, but maybe a resurgence in the fight. Scream is wrapping around, doesn't have ultimate, blinks away from Lasbra. 5v4, Ravens lose out on the bird, but the Dragons still maintain their lives.
And Coach, maybe a little too aggressive with that ult. Ults into 4 people, uses the Aegis, uses the beads, but just gets left behind because the Dragons knew they had to leave him. And I think we're talking about something even worse for the Dragons there. If Nika doesn't play that disengage as well as he does, he's able to kind of keep away the rest of the Ravens team other than Scream. And so the only person they have to worry about is Scream. So good zoning there by Nika. And that entire time, right after that left fight ends, Scream goes right over to that Pyromancer and confirms a bomb. So now we actually have 2 bombs on the side of the Ravens, but 2 Phoenixes on the side of the Dragons. Getting ready for this next Fire Giant up in about 1 minute. And if we've seen anything from these previous objectives, it's one thing is true. If you pull the objective and Kuku has ult, he's going to be getting it.
Now the question for the Ravens is, do you step up to this fire? I mean, it's Enhanced Fire Giant coming up line now. About another minute and a half, 2 minutes till that one's there. You lost out on both Phoenix, especially the most crucial one. We're trying to go for a defense there, that left side Phoenix removed. So if you're the Ravens in this case, you know, given the lead that the Jade Dragons have, the state of the map, do you step up to this next Enhanced Fire Giant, or do you let this one go to the Dragons?
That is a difficult question to answer. You have to get wards down first. Yes, they have decent wards down on their side of the jungle. Mid is going to be down for only another 30 seconds. Left is going to be down for a while. You have enough time to maybe be able to push out left. I think it comes down to, can they push out left? If you can push out left enough, maybe you defend this for a little bit, and you maybe can send somebody back to clear. But the problem is, we saw Haddix with that TP earlier, but he's opting for that maze this game. It means they don't have a TP option or a global that can go push out left. And if it comes down to it, I think Scream is going to have to be the one pushing out that left wave. But right now, it's Zapman, pushes out 2 waves. Backing now, going to be walking out, getting to this Fire Giant. And with that left Fire Wave pushing down, ticking time bomb for the Ravens. Yes, this is EFG, as you said, but you still have to be worried about your Titan. And with those Fire Waves in left, Fire Waves in mid, actually last Fire Wave in mid just dies out, but Fire Waves in left, I mean, there's always going to be that pressure over there.
Gotta also mention that Nika doesn't go for the traditional Shroud that we're used to seeing. Instead of Blood-Soaked, it's Sacrificial.
True.
Maybe that catches Haddix a bit off guard. We're seeing those crit minions do about 130 plus each hit. It's gonna be amplified across the board for all of his damage. Hurry wins.
Just dead.
Gets caught out. He tries to just walk forward and immediately meets his own fate. The Jade Dragons get 1, but Scream goes right back in to try and take down Lasbra. That's a good damage from the Highland Ravens, and immediately 1-for-1, and the Jade Dragons have got to bail out for the time being. But Haddix can step forward by himself. Thunder crashes out as soon as he meets the damage from Dardas.
Mike still has ult available. But Hurry, only 4 items deep. We have 6 items on the opposite support. Mike is 6 items deep. And we saw how quick he is still dying. But a kind of hero play there by Screaming by Haddix, getting enough damage onto Lasbra to actually get that kill. Looks like a little scuffle happening. Haddix dashes in, trades a little bit. Coast already half health.
Zapman wrapping around the side. 800 damage to Zapman's dome from Dardas. And that's going to force Zapman back. Scream already low from the fight. The Highland Ravens, they had a good push back in, but now need to return back to base. Left Phoenix is about to respawn.
Not just fire.
And they're just going to have to give up the Fire Giant. The Phoenix, so important for the Ravens on defense. They go back, defend their lane, while the Jade Dragons will get the Fire Giant. And now, the Jade Dragon continue their push. Lasbra just now on the respawn.
And they didn't hold the Fire Giant for Lasbra, so
rude.
unfortunately...
Well, there was 2 people there.
True. Unfortunately, Lasbra will not be getting that EFG, and the Ravens quickly trying to push out left as the Dragons go down right. Only one more Fire Wave in left, and we've also seen Hurry now finish this Spectral. So now, a little bit of survivability against Coast, but just to highlight it, it's not just Coast that's the one that's one-shotting him. Dardes is also one-shotting him. So, yes, he'll live to Coast, but Dardes is still going to do a lot of damage.
Dardes hurts. Blanket statement. We saw what he did at Zapman with a single Zephyr was 8, almost 900 damage. Haddix goes for the ultimate to pull Nika back in. Aegis and Undying Love used. Scream has found Lasbra. We saw the one shot that Scream had before. Gets the beads from Laz at the same time. It's now a big relic down for the jungler of the Dragons.
And Scream almost seems to be looking for that 1v1 against Laz, but as we've seen, not in an insulting way, but Laz is not the important player on this Dragons comp. He is probably the one you want to die if you're on this Dragons team. And right now, Scream opting to kill him. Looks like Ryk's going to be pushing down.
Lasbra goes in, gets some damage on Haddix, forces the beads on the Raijin and Phoenix on the right side. The only healthy Phoenix the Ravens had left gets melted by the Jade Dragons, who will now back themselves up to head for Pyromancer. Try and get a runic bomb of their own. 2 in pocket for the Ravens. Will now be 1. Did I just see 1,400 from Coast? That's disgusting. Very little do I use that term to describe anything in this game. That was disgusting to see 1,400 from Coast. I know it's a jungle objective. They're not as tanky, but that's too much damage.
Yeah, the only other thing that's that disgusting is like a level 2 gank by a jungler. That's pretty disgusting.
That might be number 1 on the list. But now with the Jade Dragons, their lead not mattering nearly as much now. The only person not full build is Hurrywin, still holding on to his recipe. Everybody else, 6 items, starting to work on their relics. We're on the opposite end for the Dragons. It's relics coming through, now an elixir for Coast. But maybe to expect, I mean, these last 2 fights, Coast has had a full Deathbringer up over Zapman. Now Zapman has his Deathbringer, has upgraded with the glyph. So now the difference is that elixir that's been picked up by their hunter. So Zap finally on somewhat even ground.
In the build and like
in the build
department.
In the build.
Damage.
Look, if you cover up the left side of the screen, it looks a lot closer.
Yeah.
But then you don't, and it's like not so great. The Jade Dragons, though, starting to make their next push up to the left side. Coast frontlining, dangerous territory. Especially you have the Sappho, you have this Opwash to be that front line, but this is what was highlighted on the desk. Difficulty of siege for the Jade Dragons. Unless you can just do that to Haddix, just take half his health with a single shot to Poly.
Yeah, and these 3k pots, this EFG is coming through. So much damage on the Dragon's side. And the Ravens don't really have that true tank. I mean, even if you did at this point, you'd be getting nearly one shot. Dragon's looking maybe for an end here.
Might just go for it. Haddix used the ultimate to try and zone out. Silver 9 wins, hits and empty the crypts. The Jade Dragons diving on in, but Nika's nearly down. The Titan low. The Titan gone. In our first set of the weekend, it's the Jade Dragons on top with a 3-1 over the Ravens.
And overall, really clean plays by the Dragons today. I think a couple missteps in that third game. I think they maybe weren't as prepared as for the Maman Brigitte as you expected, kind of. But, I mean, game 1, game 2, very good highlights across the board. I think Dardes is my standout player in this entire set. I think game 1 on that Maman, game 2 on the Maman, and that Cuckoo game right there, I think it shows kind of what he is able to